right, so get this. We're diving into AI, but not just any AI. We're talking about AI that learns physics, like actually learns physics like a kid, but, a superpowered brain kid.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
No textbooks, no lectures, just data.
It's really shaking things up. It's like we're talking about this potential paradigm shift, like how AI might actually understand the physical world, not just process information.
Exactly. And VentureBeat, they dropped this article about Archetype AI and their brainchild, I guess you could call it,
Mm-hmm.
Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break it down. What did they do? And why should we even care?
Okay, so Archetype AI, it's a company founded by some ex-Google researchers, I think, and their big, hairy, audacious goal was to build an AI that could basically crack the code of the physical world, just like humans do, but obviously way faster.
Ambitious. Much. So how did they even begin to tackle that?
Data.
Okay.
Mountains and mountains of data. They basically unleashed Newton on this massive data set of sensor data. We're talking over 500 million data points.
Yeah.
And this data covered a crazy range of physical phenomena. So think of it as like a buffet for a budding physics whiz.
Okay, so instead of force-feeding Newton, physics equations, they just let it loose on this data to find the patterns itself. Did this actually work?
It's pretty mind-blowing, actually.
Okay.
Newton didn't just learn, it excelled, right? It managed to, for example, accurately predict the chaotic movements of a pendulum.
Wait, pendulums? Those things that just swing back and forth? What's so tough about that?
Think less predictable swing, more chaos theory.
Okay.
See, even with traditional, physics-based models, predicting those chaotic movements is incredibly complex.
Right.
Newton managed to do this without any specific training on pendulums.
Wow.
Just by tapping into this broader understanding of physics that it had gleaned from that massive data set. So that's what makes this so remarkable.
Okay. You officially impressed me, but let's get real. Can Newton do more than just analyze swinging objects? How about some real-world applications?
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting. Newton went beyond the pendulum. It actually outperformed specialized AI in some critical areas.
Like what?
One example, it showed this remarkable ability to forecast power consumption across a whole city.
Whoa.
Yeah, imagine being able to predict and prevent blackouts. That's the kind of impact we're talking about.
So Newton could become the ultimate grid guardian.
Exactly.
That's huge.
And it goes beyond just predicting overall energy use. Newton also displayed a knack for predicting temperature fluctuations in power grid transformers.
Okay.
And those things are the heart of the power grid.
Right.
And even small temperature changes can really mess with their performance and their lifespan.
So this is huge for the energy industry, but what about other areas? Could this change how we approach AI in general?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it, right? Traditionally, if you wanted AI to tackle a very specific task, you'd need to build a custom model, train it on mountains of very specific data.
Right.
It's time-consuming.
Yeah,
It's expensive.
for sure.
And it's often limited to that one task.
Okay, so are you saying Newton could be like the Swiss Army knife of AI?
Yeah, that's the potential, right?
Wow.
Instead of building separate AI models for, predicting traffic flow, understanding material fatigue in a bridge, analyzing financial markets, you name it, you might have one AI that can do it all,
Wow.
just with some tweaks and additional data.
That would be revolutionary. But what about fields where data is scarce? Can Newton still function in those scenarios?
That's another advantage of this approach, right? Because Newton learns these fundamental physical principles, it can potentially make accurate predictions even when we don't have those massive data sets. So this could be a game changer for things like predicting rare events or analyzing complex systems where, getting the data is difficult or expensive.
This really changes how I think about AI. It's not just about automating tasks anymore. It's about understanding the world around us on a deeper level, maybe even a level we can't even fully grasp ourselves.
It's like giving AI a whole new set of senses, right? We humans, we experience the world through sight, sound, touch, but imagine seeing the world through sound waves like bats do, or sensing heat signatures like snakes.
That's a wild thought. So AI, like Newton, could help us tap into this hidden world of information that's all around us, but invisible to our human senses.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
exactly. Consider medicine, for example.
Okay.
We use X-rays, MRIs to kind of peer inside the body, but AI could analyze that data in ways we haven't even imagined.
Right.
It could reveal subtle patterns that might indicate disease way earlier, or even help us understand how the human body works on a whole new level.
And it's not just healthcare, right? This could transform environmental science, too.
Yeah.
Imagine using AI to analyze data from environmental sensors to track pollution, monitor delicate ecosystems, or even predict natural disasters with far greater accuracy. The implications for things like climate change mitigation are huge.
You got it. And let's not forget about the creative potential here, too.
Oh, yeah.
Artists are always pushing boundaries, right? Imagine an artist collaborating with an AI like Newton to create art based on these data streams that we can't even perceive. Like a symphony of data turned into something beautiful and thought-provoking.
This is blowing my mind. Okay, so we've talked about the amazing potential of Archetype AI's creation, but let's be real, it's still a research project. What's next for them? How do they take Newton from the lab to the real world?
Well, they've already secured a good amount of funding,
Okay.
something like $13 million, I think. And they're actively talking to potential customers about real-world applications. They seem pretty serious about making Newton commercially viable.
So they're not just sitting on this breakthrough, they're actively looking for ways to put it to work.
Exactly. Some areas they're focusing on include predictive maintenance for industrial equipment, something we talked about earlier with the power grid, but think even more broadly. They're also looking at energy demand forecasting and even traffic management systems. Imagine a city where AI is constantly analyzing data to optimize traffic flow, reduce congestion, and prevent accidents.
That sounds amazing. Less time stuck in traffic. Sign me up. But with all this talk about AI interpreting the physical world in potentially superhuman ways, we have to address the potential downsides, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is powerful technology. What about the risks?
It's both exciting and a little intimidating, right? It's like we're on the cusp of something huge, but we're not quite sure where it's going to take us.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it is a powerful reminder that we're dealing with some really powerful tools here, tools that could fundamentally change how we understand and interact with the world.
Right.
I think it's crucial to proceed with a good dose of caution, make sure we develop and use these technologies responsibly.
Couldn't agree more. So we've journeyed from the simple swing of a pendulum to, like, predicting power grids, and even glimpsed a future where AI grants us, like, superhuman senses. What's the big takeaway here? What do we really want our listeners to walk away with today? I think the key message here is this. We might be witnessing the dawn of a new era in AI.
Okay.
One where machines go beyond just processing information, right? Imagine AI developing a deep, inherent understanding of the very laws of physics that govern our universe.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing with Newton.
It's like AI is going from simply crunching numbers to actually understanding the music of the universe.
Exactly. And those ripples of change, they're going to be felt everywhere.
Right.
This has huge implications for how we solve problems, how we innovate, how we understand our place in the universe.
Wow.
It's a pretty profound concept when you think about it.
No kidding. It's a lot to digest, but
Right.
that's what we do here on the Deep Dives. We explore these mind-bending ideas and we try to make sense of it all.
And hopefully spark a little curiosity along the way.
Absolutely. Now, before we go, we like to leave our listeners with something to chew on, a question to ponder as they navigate this ever-evolving world. So here's your food for thought. If AI can learn physics from scratch just by observing data, what other hidden truths about our world, about ourselves, might it be capable of uncovering? Keep those minds curious, listeners, and we'll catch you on our next Deep Dive.